What's up, crypto fam? It's Phantom. Taking another look at the market. It's Friday, April 8th, 10:18 p.m. We have the little dog Lily, our bullish signal. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Bitcoin's correcting, which isn't a surprise. It's testing the support level. Hoping this support level holds for us. We still have 2 days left until the candle closes. The market, even the traditional, the S&P came down today, and that's what we were saying on the video yesterday, kind of looking to see what the S&P does, and that crypto will likely follow suit. I'm hoping that the support does hold. If it doesn't, I think we do drop to our next support level, which is going to be this weekly trend line. If we close below support or close below the trend line, each is a invalidation, right? So I think we're in bullish momentum going upward. A close below the support line hurts that narrative. Closing below this weekly support trend line, I think there's not a ton holding us until we get to the 28 to 30K region. That's my beliefs. That's how I'm looking at the market. We've had a decent week of volume compared to last. That said, everybody's still in the Bitcoin hype machine of Florida, and I think until that really comes to an end tomorrow night, we don't. I think that the downward continuation will continue. I don't think we really see. My opinion is we don't see really upward momentum until I'm predicting the end of next week is when we start to get bullish again and start recovering to the upside. I'm hoping we consolidate some until then. I think what a lot of people are waiting for in the industry is common sense regulation to come to the market. I think a lot of people want regulation and want the right thing. They want the Fed to oversee a lot of the companies that are coming into the space. A lot of people don't want others to get wrecked. That said, the regulation needs to make sense. The regulation needs to look at the technology as a whole and embrace the innovation instead of putting roadblocks, every 15 feet to, slow down the innovation, because the innovation is not going to slow down. It'll just go elsewhere. It'll just go around the roadblocks and move to different places in this country or outside of this country where the innovation's, allowed and enriched and can flourish. So I'm watching the support line, the support zone very closely. I'm hoping that it does continue to hold. It's held so far. It would take a closing below this to really invalidate this as a support level. If we do break it out, I'll be watching the weekly trend line that's been in place since 2020. We're obviously our bullish momentum slowing down, and I'm hoping it's just waiting for some type of catalyst in the market to shoot back up. I'm hoping by the end of next week we start to see the bullish momentum come back. There's not a ton of altcoins that I'm in. I mentioned yesterday in the stream and on Wednesday that we're looking at XTZ. We got a decent gain on that. I mentioned yesterday that I was likely going to take my profits and being cash only kind of right now, and that's what I did last night, and I'm happy I did because it did correct further. So right now I'm completely out of all altcoins, and I'm just sitting on USDT waiting for the next direction that the market wants to give. So let's take a look at the fear and greed index. Right now we're sitting at 30, so we are back into fear territory. It doesn't take long for us to move 7-point swing. This is a 15-point swing. We move around this fear and greed index pretty regularly, especially as the market goes through its waves, its peaks and valleys. I think crypto Twitter does a disservice for more than it actually helps. I think there's a lot of people out there that are drawing charts that kind of reaffirm their bias of the market, and that can be dangerous, right? You don't want that to be dictating the price or what their followers are doing. You want to make common sense decisions and have plans for each scenario, whether we go up, whether we go down, or whether we go sideways. So taking that into account, the support I'm hoping will hold. If it does invalidate, I'll be looking for how we do on this weekly support trend line. If we drop, sorry, the dog's going off. She's got the zooms. If we bounce off this support trend line, or don't hold this support trend line, then I, again, see further downside potential in the 28, 30K region. So we'll be mindful of this. We'll be watching this. I do have a few pretty cool news articles that I wanted to bring up. Kevin O'Leary, everybody knows him as Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. He spoke today. He's predicted that Bitcoin will become the world's reserve currency. In 2019, O'Leary harshly criticized the largest cryptocurrency as garbage, but his stance has completely changed since then. He does change with the times as he does his research and gets his information. The Shark Tank star hopes that Bitcoin mining will become more sustainable in the future, and he expects hydroelectricity and nuclear energy to become the main power sources for mining. Earlier this week, Kevin O'Leary told his audience that Bitcoin mining was going to save the world. He recently told Fortune that he would spend the following 10 years in the sector. He also came out today and said that he believed that the cryptocurrency will eventually be added to the S&P, and that he thinks that there is no better investment for the next 10 years than cryptocurrency. And I do agree with that. I don't agree with nuclear power and hydroelectricity as being the primary energy sources that are going to save the mining industry for Bitcoin. I think it's going to be solar. I think, and I have a news article actually that will confirm that in part. Jack Dorsey Block, formerly Square, are breaking ground on a solar and battery-powered Bitcoin mine in Texas that uses solar and storage technology from Tesla. This is exciting. I think this is going to be the wave of the Bitcoin mining future. Tesla's 3.8 megawatt solar PV array and 12 megawatt hour Megapack will power the facility. Blockstream's co-founder and CEO Adam Back and British cryptographer and member of the CryptoPunk or the Cypherpunk crew told CNBC on the sidelines of a Bitcoin 22 conference in Miami that a mining facility is designed to be a proof of concept for 100% renewable energy Bitcoin mining at scale. If that happens, that shuts down a lot of the critics that are out bashing Bitcoin, saying that it's environmentally unfriendly, that it takes too much energy, and it's their biggest talking point against cryptocurrency. And this 100% renewable energy of Bitcoin mining obliterates their ability to use that. Not that they won't continue to use it, but this speaks directly against it, and this is a wave of the future. If we can put Bitcoin mining to be completely renewable, then Bitcoin mining completely decimates what it takes the banking industry to run. The banking industry already takes more power than Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can be 100% renewable and continues in adoption, it's a clear winner. And at that point, it's moon mission, right? So if you're getting in now, we're getting in really early before all that happens. I'm excited for the future. I think, just reemphasizing what Kathy Wood was mentioning yesterday, that she could easily see in the next 10 years Bitcoin being $1 million per Bitcoin. And I think that's completely possible, and I think we are, obviously you can get Bitcoin for $42,000 today. So, being able to spend $42,000 and have $1 million in 10 years is a pretty good trade that I think most people would take any day of their life. So, people like to debate about the different factors what to do with Bitcoin mining, we figured let's just prove it, have an open dashboard so people can play along, and maybe we can inform players to participate. This is awesome, getting open communication and getting people interested. And argument can be a good thing, right? When people go back and forth on ideas, competition breeds excellence. So I'm extremely excited about what this is going to bring to the Bitcoin industry. The last news article that I have is Bitcoin goes to Washington. Bitcoin has some new backers on the Hill. The Bitcoin Advocacy Project 501 is a nonprofit organization formed to support Bitcoin adoption in the United States, has provided initial seed funding for 2 political organizations that will advance its mission. The first is the Bitcoin Policy Institute, a think tank organized as a nonprofit, and the second is a Financial Freedom PAC, the Political Action Committee registered with the FEC that will support pro-Bitcoin political candidates in upcoming elections. So, if you're not familiar with PACs, it's basically used by a lot of the industries in the political arena to kind of give funds and back the candidates that support their ideas. Popular reasons for this, or popular examples of this, would be Anthem. The insurance has a PAC to make sure that they get the healthcare policies that they want to see in place. The Koch brothers are an example of that. People in the oil industry, another example of that. Obviously, the banking sector is talking to the politicians. So to start playing the political game, I think is going to be a necessary one. Although that's unfortunate, I think it's just part of where we're at in the United States. It's not enough to know, it's who you know. And who you know runs a lot of what is in the political landscape of today. Unfortunately, I wish innovation would speak for itself. I wish action would speak for itself, but it doesn't. So having these types of committees in place to start pushing Bitcoin quote-unquote political agenda, or at the very least, is my hope, thoughtful education and research provided to the politicians so that they can legitimately back these projects instead of just backing them because they're getting funds. If they understood the tech and were able to come out and give spirited debates of why this innovation should be embraced and why they will embrace it and how they will regulate it using, clever and smart ideas instead of just roadblocks, I think that's the future that I'm pushing for. That's what would get me excited. So that's what we have in the news today. The fear and greed index is at 30, which is a good sign for, hopefully stopping of the bleed for a little bit, but we'll see. I'm hoping that the weekly support does hold. If it doesn't, I'll be looking at the weekly trend line. If that breaks, both of my bullish scenarios have been invalidated, and I will be looking much lower at the 28 to 30K region to scoop up some Bitcoin for another, hopefully, another bounce. We could even see one in this 32K region, but I think once we break this, if we broke it, it'd be in the 38K region. I think we'd easily drop $5,000 to $6,000 more in a blink of an eye. I think it'd be a nasty candle. So I'm hoping that we still close above this. We still have 2 days left before the close hits. So I'll be watching the charts. I'll be watching the news. I'm hoping we get some good news in the closing of the Bitcoin conferences tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll keep our ears to the ground. And until then, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. I hope you have an even better Saturday. And I'll catch you in a video tomorrow. Till then, peace.